All right, Pam, take it away.
All right, so really excited to be able to introduce Justin Louie to you. Mr. Louie is teaching currently in Clifton School District. He's a middle school orchestra director there. So I think Alana and her family, I know him very well. We know him rather well because he actually was Joshua, my oldest child, his cello teacher when Joshua was in high school. We found Mr. Louie was very helpful in helping Joshua progress. And we actually, Anna had the opportunity to be conducted by Mr. Louie at Region Orchestra this past January, February. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it was just this past year. And I actually had the privilege of sitting through many of those rehearsals, those 4-hour-long rehearsals with 96 middle school aged young people. And Mr. Louie did an amazing job of keeping control and making it fun, which is something that we were really excited about for the Symphony Orchestra this year, as well as his ability to put things together as far as if we need to do some virtual work this year. He's doing that already for school. So he's quite capable and familiar with what can be done. And unfortunately, thanks to COVID, we may need to do some of that this year, although we're planning otherwise. But we're really excited to have Mr. Louie agree to join us. And he has had all kinds of experience in orchestra, which I think you will hear more about. In orchestra, he's also band. He's actually picked up the trumpet, I think, and
trombone, which is basically the same thing.
Yes, and all kinds of other instruments. And his wife is an amazing flautist, so she's a woodwind specialist, and just so many amazing things about him. We're very excited that he's joining Lakeland this year, and I think you Symphony Orchestra students are in for a real treat. So thank you very much, and thanks to Sue and Mr. Louie for your time tonight and helping us to get to know Mr. Louie a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. All right, so Justin, you are now pinned. And why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, Ms. Heinrich already introduced me, kind of. You know my job. So I am a middle school director full-time. Before that, I actually was in high school as well. And that was my first gig out of college. So I was 4th grade all the way up to 12th grade, which was a lot of fun, a lot of running around. And I did have the opportunity to conduct Region this year, which was great. I promise we won't do those 5-hour rehearsals because I think I was the one that was falling asleep the most by the end there. But knowing all of this stuff, I just want you to let you know who I am, and maybe if you have some questions. I'm a huge lover of symphonic music, and especially within that kind of genre, film score. I'm a huge film score addict. So all those movies that you love, all that music that you want to listen to over and over again, that's my bread and butter. I do play trombone. My cello and double bass are my primary. So I went to college for that, but I guess you could call it a fun hobby. I also have 3 very yappy dogs, and I apologize if they interrupt every 5 minutes. But yeah, I don't know. Should we go?
You have 3?
Well, I have 2, but we're babysitting one for a week.
Ah.
So.
Deep breath. All right.
I'm dog guy now.
So I do have a set of questions. Some are Lakeland pertained, some are fun questions so we can get to know you. Those who have been with me during enrichment classes might know what some of those questions are. So let's start with a Lakeland question, which is what are some ideas that you have for the SO in terms of repertoire for next year?
So I don't know if the email went out about our potential season. So normally we and most youth groups and middle school and high schools, we work around a 2-concert season. So this year we're going to try and do 3, which means everything's a little bit shorter. And we're going to try and do our first part of the season symphonic, and then we'll swap over maybe to some chamber stuff, and then we'll come back in the spring as symphonic again. So with all that in mind, it's going to be a lot of music, right? So adding another concert, it's a whole nother rep list that you have to learn and kind of go through. I'm a big believer in more concerts because, I'll be honest, I get kind of bored with the music after 4 months. And I think you guys do too, you know, even though we only meet once a week. And that's the big thing is how do I manage all this different music? And you're going to find that a lot of it's going to be the same. And you're going to also find that there are certain spots that you know that you have to practice really hard on because it's super exposed. And then there are parts that you really don't need to worry about it because, you know, that section over there has got the main line. But I think most of you know that stuff. So my big thing is symphonic. I love symphonic. I actually started a symphonic group back in Fairlawn in high school, and then also now as a middle school director in Clifton. It's a lot of fun, right? Working with the band, with some of your band friends. Speaking of which, shameless plug, if you have any band friends, can you please make sure they do a late audition in September? That would be great. But with that in mind, we are going to start the season kind of as a concert finisher for last year, because I know you guys put in probably about 2 or 3 months of time before the world shut down. So we're going to go back and revisit Dvorak 9, which I know some of you have worked with me on, and I hope you're not too bored with it from Region, but it is going to be now the full version. So it's not exactly what we played. And then I believe we're also finishing up Hoedown. If you didn't catch kind of the America theme, I'm going to also see if we can throw in another piece. I was thinking about maybe a Western theme, maybe Magnificent Seven, just to kind of throw that in there as kind of a fun film score to kind of tie in that kind of trifecta. And yeah, Ms. Heinrich mentioned, you know, about the virtual thing. Look, we can only plan for so much. Virtual ensemble, you know, it's not probably the reason why we, you know, enjoy our social aspect of playing together, because you kind of play by yourself. But it is a fun thing to kind of put together. And in the event that we maybe can't meet as a group, you know, come fall, because who knows? We don't know. We make lots of plans, but ultimately it's going to be out of our hands. We'll still perform, quote unquote, perform the concert, just kind of in a virtual setting. And no stress. You know, I know a lot of people have different methods of doing virtual ensemble. I promise you, the way that I do it is super easy. You just play along with the play track. And I found that to be the best. And then I kind of go back in and I tweak you a little bit. Because there's some cues that you can't get when you're playing by yourself that you could when you're in on group, right? And that's pretty much as far as I've gotten for this year. When we switch over to chamber, now chamber, tons of fun. If you haven't played in chamber, get ready. My biggest hint for you is that you can't hide, right? Because it's basically 1 to a part, maybe 2 to a part. But if there are maybe friends in the group or maybe members of your section that you really want to work with, or maybe you don't know them, you know, but you want a chance to work with them, chamber is going to be a great opportunity for us to kind of meet in smaller groups, right? And work on the rep that mainly that you guys want to play, you know? So I would absolutely start hitting up YouTube, Spotify, you know, hit those playlists. You know, what are these pieces that you're listening to from your favorite performers? You know, Hilary Hahn, Sarah Chang, you know, what are they playing? Yo-Yo Ma. Yo-Yo Ma is a huge chamber guy, in addition to being, you know, big solo guy too. Yeah, and that's pretty much. And then we'll see, you know, for the spring. I'm gonna actually, when we have our first rehearsal, I'm gonna send out a little survey and see what type of music you guys like to do, because we can't always just play my favorites. Well, I guess we could, but it might get a little boring.
Well, Mr. Louie, I'm going to ask you a question that might be one of the most important questions you're ever going to be asked. It's part 1 of one of the most important questions you're going to be asked tonight, which is, what would you do if you found a penguin in your freezer?
A penguin. Well, I have 2 thoughts. One, since I have so many pets right now, it might as well just keep one. What's another animal, you know? My other thought is I don't love to grill, right? That's gross. But pets. I love pets. So many pets. They're barking.
Do you have a favorite composer?
I do have a favorite composer. It's actually a tie. Dvorak is definitely up there, but also Mendelssohn, Felix, my boy Felix. If you don't know Felix, he wrote some crazy symphonies, probably used for some tomato sauce that you may or may not eat. But no, Mendelssohn's great. If you haven't heard the violin concerto, oh, so good. Why didn't he write for the cello? I don't know.
He wrote some good chamber stuff.
That's true. He had a piano trio. I played it. It's okay. A lot of triplets.
Mr. Louie, what is something you do now? I mean, a lot of us, especially our teens, in your SO group, they are busy, like super busy, just too busy for life, right? What are some ways that you help motivate yourself to practice?
Okay, practice, and I'm gonna be honest, and I'll be the first one to tell everyone this. When I was in middle school and high school, I was the worst at practicing because I was doing, youth group, and then I had school ensemble, and then I swam for club and swam for high school, and I was just doing a lot, probably more than I should have, right? But when I got to college, my private teacher really beat me up about it. He said, you are missing a lot of stuff that you shouldn't be missing. And his biggest thing, so he went to Juilliard for undergrad and for graduate studies, and then he had a whole career on Broadway. He's a big fan of breaking it up, right? Because nobody wants to sit there for 4 hours. It's probably really bad for you, especially for you violin, and definitely for you violists, right? Do we have any violists here? Maybe. Yeah. All right. Good. Excellent. Yeah. So no one should be holding up, your instrument for that long of time, right? So my number one thing that I tell my students, break it up, right? If you have the ability to kind of practice in the morning and then do your school thing and then come back in the afternoon, that's awesome. Or if you have to practice in the afternoon and then, go do dinner and then practice before you go to bed, that's awesome too. For me, having the same set time every day is really good. So and I'm not so great about that now because now I'm a daddy and Braden likes to cry a lot and apparently he needs a lot of sleep. But I used to practice really early in the morning. So I would wake up like at 6 and get to the practice room around like 6:37. And then I would do like an hour and a half, 2 hours there, depending on my classes. And then I would come back in like the afternoon between class after lunch, always after lunch, never before lunch. But after lunch, and then, do like another hour to 2 hours. And then I do my afternoon classes and then do practice again, just break it up. And if you have set times, that's really helpful too, because then you just kind of like, oh, it's practice o'clock. I got to go practice. Now I practice a lot while I teach my lessons. And I guess that's the other thing, sometimes we just don't have enough time in our day because you're doing so much stuff. So just be really smart about what you're practicing, right? So you should be spending probably the most time on your scales and arpeggios, and no one wants to hear that because, right? Because all you want to do is play your rep, right? I want to play my fun rep. But if you spend a lot of time on that stuff and your etudes, your rep will, it'll come, right? All the stuff that you're working on the side that you don't really want to spend time on, that's the good stuff, right? Your rep is great because it gives you time to put that all together, but breaking it up, setting time to actually do it, and I'm the worst too, because I'll close my case and just never open it again, right? We've done that, and then also being smart, right? Practice smart. That's my big thing.
I know I'm guilty of opening my case, like putting on my shoulder rest, and then just packing it back up.
I gotta go do the thing.
Totally done that.
And I don't even have a shoulder rest, right? So what's my excuse? I don't know.
Your end pin. You take your end pin out and then you just put it back in.
That's right. Yep, it still works.
Mr. Louie, can you give us your best dog bark?
Well, all right, so Maddie's my dog, and then my wife has a dog, and then we're babysitting, right? So my dog growls like this, right? Anytime someone walks by she doesn't know, right? She's the worst. She sounds bad.
Yeah, but that's not a dog bark. Give us your best dog bark.
Why am I doing this?
They want to get to know you. I feel like this is a great way to break that ice. What is a piece of advice you could give high school you?
Okay. Don't do so much. Stop doing so much stuff and not, all right. When I was in high school, I thought I could kind of do a little bit of everything. And what ended up happening was I was like moderately good at everything, but not great at something. And I've kind of come to learn that although it's made me a better person, I may have had a lot of life experience, right? I kind of wish I went back and kind of been better at one thing, you know? And this is a fun fact. Music was not always my career, or at least I didn't think it was going to be. I actually went to undergrad first for business, and then I changed my major, and I went to comp sci, and then I changed my major, and I went to astrophysics, and then I said, what am I doing? I miss music so much. And then I came back home, and I came back and I transferred to a local college. I went to William Patterson to finish music education. That's my other piece of advice. Pick a good major. Don't just pick one out of random, because you're just going to change it, right? Pick a good major. Don't waste time like me.
How many auditions do you think you've had in your life? And do you still get nervous when you do auditions?
Okay. Yes. If you don't get a little bit nervous, even the super prepared people out there, a little bit of us, it's always the feeling like right here or like really low in the stomach, right? Or like you start sweating, right? You should always get nervous, and that's okay because that means that you care, right? You don't want to blow it. I can't count how many auditions. I have so many auditions. Every semester we had seating auditions. Trying to think, ensembles, honors groups, just chair placement. It's nerve-wracking, right? Someone's judging you. Don't judge me. Well, we have to, right? Because that's part of life. Anytime that I went for a job interview, judged, right? You can only do so much, right? So my big thing is you have to prepare really hard up front. And then like, as you get closer to the time, you're like, okay, we're cool, right? You don't want to be a crammer. How many of you are crammers? I know you do it because I cram still, right? You try to be as prepared as you can and you give your audition and that's the best that you could, right? Never walk away from audition saying I shoulda, woulda, coulda, because you can't travel back in time. And maybe it went better than you thought because, not all of us have the music in front of us or know the piece perfectly. So maybe you actually escaped, right? That's my big advice. Look, there's a whole science on the side of music performance about like stress management and managing your fear audition techniques, right? I think we call it. It's a whole thing. Breathing helps a lot. I don't know if you ever felt like short of breath right before you go in, right? And you start getting really clammy and like, why are my hands sweating? Do some breathing management, right? And actually, some of my band friends taught me that, because we're string players. When do we breathe? All the time. We don't think about it, right? But it really is important, right? Yeah, and then just go in. I mean, all right, there's a fine line between being confident and then being overconfident, right? So you got to ride that line, but still play to your best. And just do it, right? You're only going to get better the more you do. And I know it's nerve-wracking, but just do more, just for fun. Just sign up for stuff to audition, just for fun.
Yeah. When I think audition, I don't necessarily think fun.
Okay, fine. Just do it. Just do it. Nike, just do
it. All right. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Absolutely 100 duck-sized horses. How's that even a question? I'm way bigger than a duck.
Yeah, but 100 of them, as opposed to just one, because then you have to keep your eyes on 100 instead of just one very large one.
We're just smashing all day long. I don't know. This is weird. So in other news, I love to eat duck. It's delicious. If you haven't had duck yet, you don't know what you're missing out on. So much better than turkey.
That's probably true. So that's your final answer, 100 duck-sized horses?
I think so.
Okay. What is something you're looking forward to in terms of working with the SO?
Okay. I made a decision kind of earlier on in my career that I wanted to switch to middle school. Middle school kids are quirky. They are hardworking, but sometimes I can't understand their brains. And one of the biggest things that I miss from Fairlawn is working with the high school group, right? You guys are an incredible time in your life. You know, you're almost free from your K-12 education. You have college maybe on the horizon, or you're thinking about doing like an internship somewhere. You have literally the entire world is your limit, right? So you can do anything. And I miss kind of being there for the show because I'm sure, you know, Ms. An can attest to this. We've made a lot of mistakes in our lives, so many mistakes. And I kind of feel like as a teacher and as an educator, and this sounds so foo-foo, but I feel like one of my life goals should be to help kids avoid those mistakes. Because a lot of them I wish I could avoid and could have easily avoided if maybe someone said, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Or why aren't you doing that? And I had to learn the hard way. And I think it ended up wasting a lot of my time, which is okay because, you know, we learned and met people along the way. But I do miss the high school age group. You know, ninth grade was tough. 10th grade was a little bit better. Senior year was the best, right? Absolutely. Do we have any seniors on right now? Maybe? No.
I
Oh,
think we got a couple.
okay. Yeah, so senior year, no regrets. Do everything, right? Yep.
And I'm trying to keep it at that 7:30 mark. And do you have any other lasting advice or comments before we leave it open to students to ask questions?
Yeah. Okay. This is going to be kind of a weird year, right? I don't really know any of you, maybe except a couple of you. But really, I don't know any of you, right? And we might have crossed paths maybe once or twice. This is, you know, communication. You got to let me know that I'm doing something weird or you don't get it, right? Please don't be one of the quiet people in the back. Everyone has an opinion, right? This is ensemble, right? If you have the same, or if you have a thought, I guarantee you half the section also has the same thought, right? Please communicate. And that can be anything. Like, why are we playing this music? It's so bad, right? I want to tell you a quick story. I was teaching in my first year with the high school group in Fairlawn. I picked really weird pieces, and no one liked it. And I think we went like 4 weeks, and I met with them every day. That's 20 rehearsals. And then finally the concert master came up to me and she was like, Mr. Louie, what is this music? No one likes it. I'm like, I thought you guys loved it. Well, you shouldn't be suffering, right, through all this stuff. So make sure you tell me and be honest, right? If you don't get it, you got to tell me. You got to let me know. And if you have concerns, please let me know, right? Just takes a hand. Hey, what's going on? If you're embarrassed, shoot me an email after rehearsal or during rehearsal. If it's really bad, right? Priority 1, stop it. Cool?
Probably rehearsal during break.
Yeah, that's right, break.
I've never texted behind my music stand or sent an email behind my music stand.
Just writing a note real quick with my first finger. That's all right.
Just my thumbs, both my thumbs.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay, do you guys have any questions in the meantime before we wrap up? I think we hit all the important key factors.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and as you can probably tell, I'm a pretty anxious person, and I have a hard time speaking up. So how do I address a problem that I'm having while I'm playing if I have this problem speaking up?
Do you feel comfortable like writing a note, like jotting a note real quick and just kind of like slide it on up, right? Or leave it on your chair, anonymous, right? Then I'll just find them. Like, who said this? This is terrible, right? No. Please, any way you can, drop me, write a note, a letter, right? Fold it up, leave it on my stand. That's a good way, you know?
Sophia, I also I was just thinking off the top of my head. I think that SO has a like their own remind app.
Oh,
So if you wanted to, either during break or when you're not playing behind your music stand, you could maybe even text Mr. Louie like your question, like, "Hey, how do you want me to do this measure?" This way you can just do it in a text. He'll get it. Maybe
Yep.
he'll see it during break or something, and then address your question.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I keep my phone on the stand just to like watch the time go, right? I'll just see it all the time, right? Anything
go.
you send, I'll see it.
I only say that because, like, I don't know where I would get a scrap piece of paper. But that's just
fair.
That's just me. This is a great question from Anna and Abigail. They're asking how seating will work this year.
Good question. Ask your mom. No. I think we've talked about it. We are going to have to do seating because that's what we do. We sit, right? Section leaders are going to be pretty important. I foresee us doing a bit more kind of sectional breakout stuff within rehearsals. I'm a big fan of sectionals, and I can't be in 6 sections at once, right? So what I typically do is I'll kind of rotate through and have you who are section leaders, probably maybe the older kids, those with more experience, kind of leading those sections, because we all know in that section what sections that we need to work on, right? And that's a good way to do it together and suffer through it, right? We are going to do seating. I assume we're going to do seating based on your Zoom auditions. Is probably going to be a good place to start, or we might be able to do, do you have a different answer?
Most of them have already auditioned already.
Right.
So, right. But not all of them have a recorded Zoom, like a recorded version of their audition.
Okay.
So
is that something I need to think through? Maybe.
I was going to suggest, Mrs. Mizell, what she does with the first year orchestra students is she'll rotate stands so you can hear everybody a little bit, and then you can like mix and match. I know for my YE kids in particular, I like to I throw different people everywhere just to see what it sounds like, because I want that even cohesiveness throughout every part. So maybe that's something that's just a suggestion.
I would also like to mention, because of all this stuff with COVID, we probably are not going to be sitting in typical symphonic seating, at least definitely not to start. We might pull out some wacky arrangements, and seating arrangements, I mean. So maybe like all of us in like a big box formation, or maybe kind of like in this round thing where we're kind of all, able to see each other. We're gonna play around with some ideas that I've always had in my head, but never had the opportunity to kind of do. But yeah, we are gonna do seating, and I just need to figure out how and when and where. Do I like the violas?
Yes, I think that question comes from Abigail asking if you like the violas.
Well, I don't like my viola. I have a 16-inch viola, and I think it's too big. So I do love violas. It's kind of like a baby cello. They play some really weird parts sometimes, but super important most of the time. Yeah, you have a weird range. It's like super low, but not as low as a bass. But actually, now that we're talking about it, violas get some killer lines in film score, which is why I like to pull those out. They have some. It's like this mysterioso kind of feeling, right? Kind of sad. It's like a sad violin, right? Yes,
I'm sure
I like violas.
I'm sure that's the answer she was looking for. It's a sad violin.
It's a sad violin.
I have 2 violas in here right now that I can see, and they're both like, he's not wrong.
Why are they so big? That's what I want to know. It just hurts my shoulder and my neck.
And my body.
My body.
Any other questions, guys?
Come on, type it in. Come on.
Sure?
Unmute.
Speak now or forever hold your breath.
Till first rehearsal. My
Favorite
favorite
kind
kind
of
of dog? Okay, easy. German Shepherds. I think they're beautiful and they're super fun. But fun fact, I bought a mini Schnauzer, which if you didn't know, go quick and Google it. It's like the opposite. It's tiny and she's very yappy. But we went to the mall and we were actually going to see Independence Day too. But luckily she saved us and I saw her in the window. And she did that thing. I don't know if you walk past and then sometimes they kind of follow you on the window, right? And then I walked backwards and she followed me backwards. And I said, this is the one. And she was not a German Shepherd. She is now a 20-pound mini Schnauzer. But I love her and she is very fluffy. Maybe I'll be able to bring her in sometime.
She is very cute. She is super fluffy. I don't know if she can be as fluffy as Dory, but she is quite fluffy.
Dory has killer eyes, though. Have you guys seen Dory's eyes? Beautiful.
I can see at least 5 or 6 students in here that have endured the fluff monster. All right, guys, you sure? Oh, here's a question.
All right.
What do you think about dad jokes, and what's your favorite? Oh my goodness.
I am a dad, and I'm surprised that none of my family have purchased me like a big novel of dad jokes. So hey, just saying, putting it out there. Dad jokes, I love them. Do I have a favorite one? No, they're all good. They are all equal in humor and wittiness, just like your dad's.
I think that's a very acceptable answer.
Yes.
Do I like two-set violin? I love two-set violin before they blew up. So really, I'm like the OG fan of two-set violin. No, those guys are awesome. And actually comes to show you kind of what the internet has done, not to sound old, but when I was in high school, YouTube was barely a thing. Like, honestly, we got on, and Ms. On will attest to this, like, we got on to watch, like, cat videos, and that was pretty much it. Now you can have a whole career making fun of sacrilegious boys, and people who play the violin very fast but not well. This is important. It's important things to know, that this could be your career. Commentators. And I don't know if you guys saw, but they were actually slotted to, I think it was host one of like the big concerto competitions, but then it got canceled. Oh, so sad. So sad. They would have been so good. So much roasting. A favorite performer? Okay. Man, there's just so many. I know it sounds like a lame answer. Oh gosh. Do I have to just pick one? Can I pick by instrument?
One per instrument.
One per instrument. Okay, that's a little bit easier. Okay. Hilary Hahn, violin. Super easy. Viola, I don't know any. Are there any? Cello. Okay, cello. I love Alyssa Weilerstein. I don't know if any of you had a chance to listen to her play. She actually did a whole New Jersey circuit, and I think we went to go listen to, was it Lalo? Man, she's great. She's great. Double bass, yeah, same story with viola. Are there any really good double bass players? Edgar Meyer, I guess. He's pretty good. Kind of goofy, though. Just like all double bass players. Trombone, Joe Alessi. Super easy. And that's pretty much all you need to know. Right?
Did you ever take lessons with Joe Alessi while he was at Willie P?
No. What? He was at Willie P? I missed a golden opportunity.
I think so.
I did not. I studied with the guy who I guess was after, or maybe he was on leave with the guy that's currently there now. Yeah, it was okay. It was one semester. I loved it though.
Maybe I'm just thinking. I know he teaches privately in Ridgewood because that's where he lives.
Yeah, fun fact. A lot of the New York players, they all live in Jersey, right? Because it's better here. Doesn't smell as much. Hobbies. Hobbies. Okay, here's one. I love eating. Eating is one of my favorite hobbies, and also like cooking and grilling. Grilling mainly. Those are my favorite hobbies. I like anything to do outside. Mrs. Louie, Braden, and I just went on a big hike today. That was a lot of fun. I like hiking. Outdoor stuff, archery. Any of you into archery, target shooting, maybe?
Yes, archery is great.
Excellent stuff. You get to be outside. Yeah, it's hard because we live in New Jersey, and a lot of the stuff that I want to do, I can't do unless it's summer. But then I get too hot. That's what it is. My music takes up a lot of time too. Oh boy, my favorite book. Okay, this sounds really bad. I only read my textbooks because I have to. It's not my favorite medium. I'd rather just score study.
Not even like a favorite childhood book?
Oh gosh. I mean, honestly, I think the only full series I've ever read was Harry Potter. Is that bad? I don't know. Maybe, all right, maybe that's the challenge, right? Maybe start me on a series that I would like. Because I think so far I've tried stuff and I just hated it all. Mrs. Louie is super into murder mysteries. I don't know why. That's what she likes to read. I don't know.
What is your favorite movie or director?
Is it lame? Is it lame if I say Star Wars? I mean, I just love Star Wars. Anything Star Wars. I don't care if the last three were terrible. They're still good in my heart.
You mean, wait, like the most recent three, or like the three before that?
Yes, I mean chronologically in our timeline, the latest three, they're super weird and kind of all over the place, right? Come on, I know. If you watch them three separately, right, they made sense. Then you put them all together, like, what's happening? It's all right. Favorite Star Wars character? Jar Jar. No, come on, no one likes Jar Jar.
I think somebody took you way too seriously and just lost all respect.
It's gonna show up on Instagram that Mr. Louie just loves Jar Jar. No, I'm a big Chewie fan. Chewie's my man. He's my boy.
What are your thoughts on Baby Yoda?
Oh yeah, Mandalorian's coming back this fall. That's I'm gonna spend a lot of my time watching Mandalorian. Right, got to catch up on the first season. But yeah. Baby Yoda's cute. I don't know why Disney doesn't just come out and call him Baby Yoda. We all call him Baby Yoda.
Does Disney not just call him Baby Yoda?
No, he's the child.
Is he credited as child?
As the child. It's weird. But we all know it's Baby Yoda. It's okay.
Yeah, I binge watched that in one day.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, guys. Keep them coming.
Come on, anymore. I could talk Star Wars all day long. And while we're talking about it, did we like the new movie's music, right? Because fun fact, not all of it was written by John Williams. He was like the big name, but I actually found out that there was like a whole team of guys kind of working on this stuff, which is a little weird, right? Because, I mean, he's getting up there. How old is he now? 90? Something?
I think he's like late 70s, early 80s.
No way. All right, let's look it up. Wikipedia. Here we go.
I'm like
John
90. I think he's
Williams.
in his 80s.
Okay, he's 88.
Okay.
Which, if you round it up, he's now in his 90s. I mean, man, I hope I'm that active when I'm in my 90s. But I'm pretty sure I just kind of sit around, think about stuff. That's awesome. He's writing. He's getting Grammys still. And if you're not a big John Williams fan, I suggest that you go and you kind of look at his discography, right? It's so much. He's done so much over the past 3 decades. And it's all different stuff, right?
Best Star Wars movie.
Best? Clone Wars? Anyone else? No one?
My favorite is Rogue One.
Okay. Rogue One. I mean, we knew how it was going to end. But that's okay.
But did you, so you knew how it was going to end, but did you know that ending was going to happen?
That's true, and that's one of the best ones. The tie-ins. It's all about the tie-ins, right? Yeah, I don't know. There's so many to choose from. Wasn't there supposed to be a new Star Wars show coming out? Other than
Mandalorian?
Mandalorian? Yeah, other than Mandalorian. I thought there was another one coming out. Maybe not.
Well, I guess
Also, a huge
that's-
Donnie Yen fan. Any of you into martial arts movies? Donnie Yen. Oh, so good. So funny. You should go watch their interviews. This is what I do, by the way. I sit around at nighttime and I watch interviews of Donnie Yen. Star Wars stuff.
And picking out rep for SO.
Yeah, that's right. It's August. Should get on that.
All right, guys. Yeah. You guys content? Do you feel like you know Mr. Louie a little bit better?
We
Give
can do
me
this more, especially during the first couple of rehearsals. You want to do like 20 questions?
Maybe like during break?
Yeah. Come on, you don't really know me.
Well,
Ask me the real questions.
what are you most afraid of this year?
Spiders. Always spiders.
No, for this year, like
Yeah,
2020.
Still
It's
spiders.
2020 spiders. That's what's coming up after us, right?
What am I afraid of? The insane number of hours that I'm going to put in doing virtual ensembles. No, I don't know. I'm not. You kind of live life every day, you know. You can't be afraid.
Yes, you said to ask the real questions. All right, I will end this on the last question, and that will be, I guess I already asked this.
Not the penguin question, right?
No, I was gonna ask you what are your hopes for SO?
Look.
But I feel like you did answer that somewhat.
This is, if you're not a flexible person, good luck. Because I feel like if anything the past year has taught me, like, I got to be more flexible. You know, it's okay. You know, is life really all about, you know, the May competition? Didn't even happen, right? And I was so stressed out about it. No, but look, we can only live one day at a time. Let's enjoy it, right? Let's try and play some music together. Let's have fun doing it, and let's give a kicking concert. And then we get to do it all over again, and then again, and we do more concerts.
And on that note, I think that's a great place to end. We're gonna have some kicking concerts.
Kicking concerts.
Is that what the kids say nowadays?
I may end up talking a little bit like a middle schooler, because I see them so much. So just help me. Oh, hi, Miss Louie.
Hi, Bethany.
Yeah, she's hiding.
Okay.
Sorry, my baby's screaming. I don't know why.
Well, maybe some good symphonic music will soothe him.
He's a big fan of Bach, and he is not a big fan of jazz. Just throwing that out there.
Maybe you raised him right so far.
That's what I'm saying. Just kidding. If you love jazz, it's important too.
Definitely gonna end on that note. But what note is that? We don't know because it's jazz.
It's all of them.
You know that
It's
jazz
all
was kind of like the precursor to rock and roll.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Rock and roll is, yeah.
I'll give you classic jazz. Yeah, you know, Cole Porter, early Broadway stuff. You know, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of bebop. Just saying.
We Justin and I went to a music school that was predominantly jazz, so
all they played was bebop.
But so we're a little. Let's just say we're a little jaded by some jazz.
I just wanted them to play like really early stuff. Like, whatever happened to Dixie? No one loves Dixie. I think Dixie's fun. Ripping. Trombones are always ripping.
Is that what ripping trombones sound like? What do they sound like again? Can't wait to hear you do that in rehearsal when you ask the trombones to play something.
I gotta go pull out my trombone soon. It's been a while.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Louie.
Of course.
Please, we are going to email this this whole recording out, and if you could share it with some of your friends, your other orchestra friends, or specifically your wind player friends, that would be super helpful. Get them to come in, see how cool all of us are, because we are the coolest dogs in the orchestra. Coolest cats. No, I want to say orchestra dogs because I feel like there's jazz cats and more orchestra dogs. I tried.
You're on your own.
I tried.
I can't
right.
save you from this.
All right, guys. Peace out. Good night.